In 2012, Ubuntu quietly started sending your desktop search queries to Amazon. Every time you searched for a file on your own computer, that data went to Amazon's servers so Canonical could collect affiliate revenue. Nobody was told. Nobody was asked. It ran for 11 years before they finally removed it in 2023. That's the most popular Linux distribution in the world. 40 million users. Spyware baked into the desktop for over a decade. But here's where it gets interesting. The three alternatives people run to each have their own skeletons. Fedora is bankrolled by IBM, the company that killed CentOS and told the open source community to deal with it. Pop! OS promised a new desktop written in Rust and missed the deadline by years. And Linux Mint, the one everyone calls reliable, is maintained by essentially one person with donation money. Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Pop! OS, Fedora. I went through the communities, the development histories, and the corporate funding behind all four. And that's when I started getting suspicious. Let's start where everyone starts. Ubuntu. Mark Shuttleworth sold his security company, Forte, to VeriSign for $575 million in 1999. Then he founded Canonical and created Ubuntu in 2004. Largest community, best hardware compatibility, more tutorials than every other distro combined. When employers say they want Linux experience, they mean Ubuntu, but Canonical has a pattern. The Amazon Spyware ran 11 years. Then came Snap packages. Starting in 2022, Canonical forced Snap as the default format. Firefox as a Snap loads 5 to 10 seconds slower than the native package. The Snap store is controlled entirely by Canonical. Unlike Flatpak, which is decentralized, Snap routes everything through their servers. Telemetry collection is enabled by default. You opt out, not in. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Ubuntu is still the most practical choice for professional Linux. The community is too large to ignore. LTS releases get 5 years of support, 10 with Ubuntu Pro. Ubuntu survives on the same logic as Avid in video editing, not because it's beloved, because it's necessary. Not everyone accepts that trade-off. And the first place they run is Linux Mint. Clement Lefebvre started Mint as a hobby project in 2006, went full-time in 2011, 18 years later, still maintaining it. No venture capital, no corporate parent, funded by donations. The result is the most Windows-like Linux experience available. Cinnamon Desktop puts the taskbar, start menu, and system tray exactly where Windows users expect them. You sit down, and it feels familiar. Mint's philosophy is stubbornly conservative. It's based on Ubuntu LTS, but Lefebvre waits 6 months or more after each release for bugs to get fixed before building Mint on top. The current version shipped in January 2024 on a base that was 21 months old. Some people find that maddening. Mint's response is basically, we don't care, stability matters more. That stubbornness extends to Snap packages, banned entirely. Flatpak instead. 30,000 daily downloads suggest users agreed with that decision. The concern is sustainability. One person maintaining a distribution used by millions, funded by donations. But 18 years of consistent delivery is hard to argue with. For anyone leaving Windows who wants zero surprises, Mint is the obvious choice. But what if you're a gamer with an Nvidia card who needs Linux to actually work with your hardware? That's where Pop! OS enters the story. System 76 is a small company in Denver. About 60 employees. They manufacture Linux computers. And in 2017, they built their own distribution specifically to solve the Nvidia problem. On Ubuntu and Fedora, installing Nvidia drivers is a nightmare. Manual installation, kernel update breakage, hours of troubleshooting. Pop! OS ships with Nvidia drivers pre-installed. You download the Nvidia version, install it, and your graphics card works. For Linux gamers, that single feature justified the entire distribution. Auto-tiling window management, gaming optimizations, no snap bloat. Pop! OS was Ubuntu without the corporate baggage, plus hardware support that actually worked. But then System 76 made a bet that may have broken everything. They decided to build Cosmic, an entirely new desktop environment written from scratch in Rust. Not a fork, a complete ground-up rebuild. Pop! OS 24.04 was supposed to ship with Cosmic. It didn't. Ubuntu moved to 24.04 in April, 2024. Fedora hit version 41 in October, and Pop! OS users sat on a 22.04 base from April 2022, watching everyone else move forward. A team of 5 to 10 developers trying to build an entire desktop environment while maintaining a distribution used by hundreds of thousands. The maths doesn't work. Cosmic might be brilliant when it ships, but users don't run on promises, they run on software. And right now, Pop! OS is running on a base that's years behind the competition. The bus factor risk is real. System 76 is a hardware company. If laptop sales decline, Pop! OS development could be killed entirely. No canonical-sized corporation behind it, just a small team betting everything on a desktop that doesn't exist yet. For Nvidia gamers who need working drivers today, Pop! OS still delivers that. But recommending someone invest learning time in a toy distribution whose next release has no firm date feels irresponsible, which leaves Fedora. Fedora is the enthusiast's choice, bleeding edge, latest kernel. Wayland, Pipewire, Systemd, Flatpak all debuted on Fedora before the rest of the Linux world adopted them. Linus Torvalds, the person who created Linux itself, uses Fedora. That's not a small endorsement. But Fedora's philosophy comes with a cost. Bleeding edge means things break. Kernel updates that kill Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Graphics driver failures after routine upgrades. This isn't occasional, it's the expected experience when you run the latest everything. Nvidia support is deliberately poor. Fedora's open source philosophy means proprietary drivers aren't included. Installing them requires manual work, and they break after kernel updates regularly. If you have an Nvidia card, Fedora is actively working against you. The support cycle is 13 months per release, a new version every 6 months. You're forced to upgrade frequently. On Ubuntu LTS, you get 5 years. On Mint, 5 years plus a stability buffer. On Fedora, you're on a treadmill. And behind Fedora sits IBM. Red Hat was acquired for $34 billion in 2019. In December 2020, IBM killed CentOS, the free enterprise Linux that thousands of businesses depended on. Replaced it with CentOS Stream, which served IBM's interests rather than the community's. Fedora is functionally the testing ground for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. The community does the beta testing. Red Hat sells the stable results. That arrangement works as long as IBM keeps funding it. But the CentOS killing proved IBM will prioritize profit over community promises without hesitation. For developers who accept occasional breakage, Fedora is genuinely excellent. For everyone else, the instability and corporate shadow make it harder to recommend than the community admits. Lovely. Right, so here's where I land. Linux. Mint for anyone new to Linux. 18 years of consistent delivery, no corporate betrayals, feels like Windows. The conservative approach frustrates power users but protects everyone else. Ubuntu for professional use. Largest ecosystem, best compatibility. The Snap controversy and spyware history are real, but the community size is hard to replace. Pop! OS for Nvidia gamers willing to accept a stale base while Cosmic development continues. Working drivers today, uncertain roadmap tomorrow. Fedora for enthusiasts. Latest technology, Linus Torvalds approved. Accept the breakage and the IBM corporate shadow. Or choose stability instead. One has spyware history. One has a corporate parent that killed a community project. One bet everything on a desktop that doesn't exist yet. And one is maintained by a single developer funded by donations. Every choice is a trade-off. At least now you know what you're trading.